Dave, can you sit? So we can see you in the
Yeah,
chair?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you want to set the shot. Got it.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for being here, guys.
Danny, do you want me to look at the camera or do you want me to look at him? Or both?
Yeah, let's do that.
Would you prefer I look at him or look at the camera?
I think look at the camera. We're going to get a different camera on you to do a side shot. So I'm just going to angle it in tight on you. And I'm going to set him up. Show me how animated you're going to be. How wide do I...
Probably very animated and very wide open, and my arms
But you're not going to stand up, right?
Probably, no. Not if you don't want me to, no.
Okay. And then, Jonas, come sit here. So it looks...
I tend to, like...
Yeah, I want to be...
But I'm not going to stand up. Yeah, if he's here, it's a little more natural for me
Right.
to kind of look at him.
And then, in fact, I can position you... Get up for a second. Try again.
Have a great weekend.
No.
Yeah, right there.
Your head will be in it. Let's do it again. Sit up. Right here. That's perfect. Let me just see how that looks. Ready?
How you doing?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Good. What'd you think? Was it all right?
Amazing. Totally amazing.
Cool.
We are trying to get, I love it. I love the, try it, you don't know, because that is so true. I've had students in the past, like, I don't want to do sound design. They start doing sound design, they're like, I want to do this for my living. Like,
I always talk about, when you're in college, they give you a syllabus, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when people look at the syllabus, they go, oh my god, look how much stuff we have to do. I'm so intimidated.
Right.
I would look at the syllabus and go, how cool would it be if I knew all this stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so just sort of reversing your thinking about that.
Okay. Alright, let's set that up. Alright, it is all yours. Alright, we're going to close this with our sound.
Okay. Are you good? Okay. And then...
So this is for Viewpoint?
So
Or
this is
for-
going to have multiple purposes,
Okay.
right? So one for archival, for
Okay.
us video, right?
Mhm.
The viewpoint component is that this will then be turned into a written piece and featured
Cool.
in Viewpoint. So
Alright. Sounds
we could all see it. So we're going to use this and maximize your...
Go for it. Superstar.
Yeah. Josh didn't get this treatment. You should.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if there's any do you know Josh Gad questions, I'm out.
Yeah. So you should use that, right, and run with it for as much.
Just talk about him exclusively. So go ahead.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did your school experience do for your career?
I would say that the seeds of everything that I did started in the university school. I went to university school from 4th grade through high school graduation. So I got my work ethic here. I always tend to think university school was a really good school, but it churned out creative people, and there was sort of an encouragement to explore creativity that I found at U School that other schools didn't have. Where other schools were kind of churning you out to go to a prep school or to go to an Ivy League school, trying to turn you into that. But that wasn't U School. U School is a really good school, but it always had that focus on creativity, performing arts. The athletics were nothing like they are right now, but I always felt like I was encouraged to sort of explore that part of myself here, and I feel like that's something I still use.
Hold on. Let me pause you guys for a second.
Is there a vacuum?
It was a suction.
Oh.
Okay, so let me crack this open. And I'm going to leave it just open a little bit because it's the suction. It's a terrible noise, and it's good for us to know. We're going to have to...
You want to do it again?
No, I think we can edit the sound out. We can
I don't mind doing it again, just if you
just
feel
to have
like,
it?
Well, why add an extra difficulty if you don't need it?
Okay.
You
So
know?
yeah, then we'll do it
Alright.
one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah, I just would rather like, oh, I can't use that answer because it's
Yeah,
you know.
do it again.
So what did your youth school experience do for your career?
I think I started the university school in 4th grade and I stayed here through high school. So it's basically like asking what did my childhood do for my career. I developed my work ethic at university school. I think university school always pushed me to be creative and to learn how to write. There are a lot of great schools, but I always felt like the U school was a school that wasn't churning out sort of a robotic, aim to be in a good school, that's it. It churned out good, well-rounded people. And I always felt like U school encouraged people to be well-rounded, to try new things. And I had the opportunity to do that here. So I think that really has helped me throughout my career.
Awesome. So what teachers had a positive impact on your life or inspired you in any way from your time here?
How long do you have?
Hold on one second. Stop for a second, please. Hey, Gene.
Well, I was just wondering where the class is. I am going home.
Okay.
My meds have flattened out and I am not too good.
So do you work with like people who are involved with analytics at Channel 10?
I mean, I work with sports people,
Uh,
so I would say that I work with. I mean, sort of the application of numbers is a part of what I do.
Yeah.
But just in terms of teams, I think it's definitely a part of like every team.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
So, but specifically, no. I mean, like math is not my strength,
Right.
so I tend to be more about like storytelling and visuals and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, that's a good question. Don't be afraid to go off script. Are you going to be writing the Viewpoints article?
I don't know.
What's the question?
Am I writing the Viewpoint article?
I believe you are. That's why we're doing this. We just upped the ante a little bit and said let's record it if we're going to interview you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No,
One,
no.
because we were going to record it anyway so that he doesn't have to sit
No, I
there with
gotcha.
notes.
No, I absolutely. Okay,
Alright.
go ahead. Continue.
So second question, or
Mhm.
okay. What teachers had a positive impact on your life or inspired you anyway from your time here?
Now, Dave, can you make sure you repeat the question as part of your answer?
Yes. Okay, what teachers did I have at the university school who inspired me or helped me with my career? How much time do you have? Because there are so many teachers. And the funny thing is that they kind of run the gamut of subjects of people who influence me. I would say, for example, there's a history teacher, Mr. Redler, who was Charlie Redler, who was just so much passion for his job, so excited about his job. He would do these strange presentations that sort of stuck with you. It sort of brought history alive, which I always thought was really cool. Mr. Shear was a math teacher, and I didn't love math, but I loved Mr. Shear's class. He was also one of my homeschool teachers. I think he just retired recently, and he would always have chalk all over him, and you did well, he would slap your desk and be like, good job, I'll see you in Sticker City, and he put a sticker on your paper, and he had so much passion for everything he did. I remember him saying, like, every work you do is an autobiography of yourself. So when you write your name on that paper, this paper is you. And just sort of that pride in your work. And he took so much pride in what he did. Linda Winrow was my 10th grade English teacher, and she came up with vocabulary lists that I hated, but I learned. And I credit her vocab lists and her vocab tests with allowing me to get into Duke. I mean, there's an A to B connection. Dr. Gruberg was a guidance counselor who basically adopted our family in essence. Like he had so much love for myself, my brother who went here, and helped my brother get into Brandeis, helped me get into Duke, and he was also part of Key Club, which I was really a big part of, and sort of imbued the value of service, and sort of showed that leadership is about service and caring about other people. There was a chemistry teacher here who called me out and sort of challenged me in a bit of a negative way in front of the class, and that motivated the heck out of me to prove him wrong. I mean, it works all kinds of ways,
And then, what ways has the school changed or stayed the same since your time here?
Well, the red is the same in the front of the building and the back of the building.
Yeah.
The cafeteria is located similarly. But otherwise, pretty much everything has changed for the better. I'm sitting in a television studio. The TV studio used to be this little tiny room. We had this guy, Mr. Singer, who used to wear a watch on his ankle. And he had this little room in a chroma. And that's where we used to do some weekly review. And now I'm in a studio with 3 cameras looking at me. The athletics are ridiculous. I was a baseball player. Not a very good one, but I was a baseball player. And we didn't have a football team. You guys have a nationally ranked basketball team. It's on ESPN. That's unheard of. The facilities are beautiful. The Performing Arts Center is beautiful. You guys have resources that we couldn't have dreamed of when I went to school here.
Awesome. So how did you make it from your life at U School to where you are today in your career?
A lot of hard work, a lot of persistence, and a singular vision. I always knew what I wanted to do. There are people who have jobs and there are people who have callings, right? So a job is something you do to make money to feed your family. A calling is something that you are when you're born and you just do it your whole life. And I feel that what I do is kind of a calling. I participate in the same activity now for a living that I did when I was 3 for free. I read about sports, I write about sports, I talk about sports. That's what I always did, that's what I always wanted to do. And I used the U School as a springboard to Duke, and I used Duke as a springboard to getting an internship, and I used the internship and I never left. Persisted. And I started as an intern at Channel 10 in the summer of 2000. It's 2018, I'm still there. So you just have to fight for what you want.
Yeah, of course. When there are moments in your career when you feel like you were struggling, how do you take those moments and use them to grow and use them to be even more successful today?
I have those moments every day. I have those moments every 5 minutes. Those are great. You need those. If you're doing a job and you don't have moments where you feel like you fail, you're not doing the right job. You have to take every loss as a lesson, and you have to be not afraid to try. I'm a big believer, just don't make the same mistake twice. Make mistakes, try things, but just don't do the same thing wrong twice. Because when you're making mistakes, you're getting better. If you're doing everything perfectly, then you're not making mistakes, you're not learning, you're not growing. So especially in television, live television is built for mistakes. And it's kind of funny because I'm a very type A personality. I plan, I'm early, I'm fastidious, I'm detailed. And television is not like that. It's fly by the seat of your pants. I build a show, I build a rundown, I prepare, I do everything you can to be prepared. But stuff changes all the time. And being in TV for so long has helped me grow an ability to just go with it, whatever's happening. And that didn't go well. You aired the wrong tape, the person read the wrong script, you gotta keep going. And television is all about deadlines. So the 11 o'clock news comes on 11 o'clock every night, whether you're ready or not. And so just learning that even if the preparation for it didn't go exactly as you planned, doesn't matter. You got to do it. And so I constantly make mistakes. And it's funny, the perception of a mistake, something I don't like how it comes out, and you might not notice on television. It's just the little things, because there's also a subjective quality to it. And so I might perceive it as a mistake, and someone else might not. Or someone else might see something as a mistake that I actually think was really cool, and I'm glad I did it. So it's one of the fun things about broadcasting and journalism and television and sports is it changes every single day. I don't know what's going to happen when I get to work every day, but I know that whatever it is, I'll get through it, and I'll learn from it, and I'll grow from it, and I'll be better for it. And then if it happens again tomorrow, I'll be ready for it.
So as a student, from high school, you're talking about mistakes and changes and learning to grow. How do you think as a student you did that, and how has it helped you today?
Okay, so for example, I'll tell a story and then I'll kind of relate it. So I was on the baseball team, and I was telling Danny this story today, and I was decent. I was a pretty good JV player.
Go back to that again. Take the part about me, because this may not be. I was telling Danny today, if we show this a year or two from now,
Understood.
the context of that will. So just start the story without me in it.
All right, sorry about that. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. All right. Mistake. Take 2. Okay. Can you ask me again? Just so.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Almost Famous? There's a scene where he goes,
Uh-huh.
"Ask me again." That was ad-libbed.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Okay. Go ahead. Ask me again.
So talking about mistakes and changes and learning to grow from them, as a student, how do you apply that as your time here, and how has it helped you today?
Okay, so I was a baseball player. I was okay. I was decent. Left-handed pitcher, first baseman, average. But my I think it was like 8th or 9th grade, I got pretty good. They called me up to varsity, and I remember a moment where I was pitching, and there was a kid, we were playing Pinecrest, and he was gigantic. And I'm like, all right, this kid's big, I'm going to throw him my fastest pitch. So I throw him my fastest fastball. And it was like a movie. Like he was standing there, and you could see like his tongue going around his mouth, like, oh yeah. And he cracked a ball to straightaway center field. And I just watched this thing fly. I was like, this thing is gone. So far gone. And as I'm watching this thing fly, I'm like, I'm not going to be an athlete. Like, look at this thing. This was the best I can do, and that kid just destroyed me. But I love sports. You know what? I'm gonna go do forensics. I don't really want to hang around and do this anymore. And so my friends were all very good actors, but I wasn't a particularly good actor. But I was very good at thinking on my feet, and so I really engulfed myself in extemporaneous speaking, and the ability to just get up and talk. You give me a topic, you give me 7 minutes, I come up with a speech, I just start talking. And that skill was, I didn't know it, was sort of sowing the seeds of what I would ultimately become. The ability to just, you throw something at me, whether it's in television and it's a problem, or you ask me a question and I just, from the top of my head, come up with ideas and thoughts and sort of express myself in a way that is very helpful. And then academically, just trying things you're not good at and persisting through things you're not good at. You know, I took some AP classes here, and I think I got some 5s on some of my AP tests, but I think the one I'm actually most proud of is the 3 I got in AP European History. That was the hardest class I ever took. And it was this big book, I remember, Palmer Colton, I think it was called, and it was the hardest book I've ever read. But I was so dedicated to that. And I'll put that 3 up against any of the 5s that I got and say, I worked my behind off for that. And I just think that that's what you have to do. It's just committing to working as hard as you can at whatever it is you're trying to do. Whether it's pursuing your passion, whether you want to be a journalist, whether you want to write a story, whether you want to be a juggler. It doesn't matter. You have to just keep working at it and working at it and working at it. And then on the other side of your struggles is where your success lives.
So what advice would you give to a student like me who has a passion for sports, and what careers are available to them, and how should we go by pursuing them and preparing for them?
Don't prepare, start doing. You don't prepare for something, you do it. Because that's just the way it goes. There are a million careers in sports. You could be a sports broadcaster on the television side. You could be in front of the camera. You could be behind the camera. You could be a sports broadcaster in radio, in front of the camera, behind the camera. You can work with a team. You could work with the university in the sports information department. You could work with a team in an analytics department. You could become an athletic trainer. You can go to medical school and become an orthopedist for a team. There is any job that you could possibly want in school with athletics and sports. I would say, don't limit your education. Learn something. Learn something else. Go study history. Go study English. Go study politics. Go study something else. But do sports. So learn well-rounded, but do focused. So your 9 to 5, if you will, at school is very, very well-rounded educational background. But your 6 until you go to bed is sports. And dive into it and be enmeshed in it and live it. And when you live it, it ultimately will become worlds open up. You're like, hey, I never considered that. That's awesome. I love that. I want to do that. Hey, I'm going to go be a social media director for this basketball team. Or you don't know. So you have to, and you also don't know who knows who. So you go work this internship and you do a good job and this person knows that person and boom, next thing you know, opportunities open themselves. But you just have to keep working. But you need that foundation, that base of a good broad education. So if someone wants to study, either broadcast journalism or I know they have different sports majors. You don't have to do that. I was a public policy major. I was not, I did my television on the side. I had a film and video certificate and a public policy degree, but I worked at the campus television station from the week I got there. And I interned from my first summer through my senior summer. And so that's how I did it. I just did it. And I always tell this to young people. The technology today is amazing, and the limitations are literally only how hard you want to work.
So you talked a little bit about connections there. How big are connections in sports world and in broadcasting? And were there any specific connections at U School that you used that helped your career?
Okay, so here's how I got my career. My mother was working at Nova, not at university school. My mother was working at Nova in the college, and they were having a speaker series that featured Dwight Lauderdale, who's a legendary broadcaster in South Florida, was the main anchor at Channel 10 for 20 years. And because she's my mother, my mom had my resume in her purse, and I was a freshman at Duke at the time. And after his speech, my mom went up to Dwight and said, "Hey, my son's a freshman at Duke who wants to be in television. Can you help him out?" And Dwight called my house while I was home on fall break, and I got an interview, and that was it. That was the door that opened. I didn't plan it. I didn't give my mom my resume. Sometimes just doors open. But I'll tell you one thing. If the door opens a crack, you kick it down. And that's what I did. I never left. I found, I didn't have a connection other than that one moment. And the minute I got in that door, I loved it, and I knew I was going to do whatever it took to stay there.
So what is your favorite U School moment from your time here?
Grad night was really fun. Let's see. Prom was fun. Senior year was fun. Honestly, my friends. Truthfully, my friends. I had great friends who I'm still friends with today. I'm really blessed. I have a group of friends who I've been friends with since kindergarten, and we all went to U School together, and we're still friends to this day. So I would say that, if I want to get really specific and really random, a really big moment for me is, was it Blue Key? There was some forensics tournament where I won extemp, and it was the only time I really won a big tournament. It was like a semi-national tournament, and I remember the trophy, and I remember winning, and I just remember that being such a rewarding feeling because other teams had like 5 or 6 extempers who worked together. So they would build these elaborate files where they would all work together to catalog all the information, and I was just me in this box of Time magazines and U.S. News and World Reports, and I just went with my little box and I beat them all, and that was a really, really cool feeling.
Get on something here? Can I ask you a James Lippman style question here?
Ask me whatever you want.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little
Sure.
bit, right? You said you had great friends.
Yes.
Your particular class here in 1999 is a very successful class,
Yeah, we did okay.
right?
Yeah.
Got you.
Yep.
Josh Gad.
Who?
Seth Gable,
Yeah, I've heard of them.
right?
Yeah.
Sean Snyder,
Matt Swerdlow?
Matt Swerdlow.
Yep.
On that list, these are your best friends.
Yes.
What do you think it was about your experiences collectively that made you all as successful as you are today? What quality did you share with those others that made you all as successful as you are today?
I think that we all were what we were before we were it. Which isn't grammatically correct, but the point is that Josh was an actor when Josh was 5 years old. When I got on the bus with Josh when he was 5, he was trying out jokes with me. And Seth got picked for Kids Cuisine or whatever, a Kids Cafe, when he was 7. And Matt was a science genius. My favorite story about Matt Swerdlow is that he was asleep in a physics class, and we had a teacher. I'm not going to name his name, and the teacher called on him and said, "What's the answer?" Trying to call him out because he's sleeping. He picks his head up. He looks at the board. He gives the correct answer. He goes, "You stink," and you're my math teacher too. Puts his head back down. He was a genius. So he had that, and Sean, filmmaker, storyteller. I remember in 4th grade making a movie with him in the park for one of our projects. So I just think that we all none of us have jobs. I think we all have callings. Obviously various levels of success, but I think that's what's made that class. I just think that's what made our group special. I think we all we're just so, and we're all so encouraging of each other. Like, I mean, to be specific, I'll talk specifically, like, for example, about Josh. Josh is legitimately a movie star, right? But when I hang out with him, when I see him now, he is as proud of what I do as I am of what he does. He is as interested in what my career is as I am in his career is. And so that, it's an expression Seth always talks about. Seth always says, walk with kings, but keep the humble touch. And I think that all of them have done that, and I try to do that. And you also can't recreate old friends. You can't make them up, no matter what you do. Like, there's just something about people who know you and have known you your whole life that is different than new people. And so I just think that connection's always been there, that support's always been there. And I just think, like, if we all got together in a room right now, and if you had that room on one camera and another camera of us at 8, and we would look the exact same. Like, Matt would be rolling his eyes at me, Josh would be going for the joke. Like, like, it's just that we're the same. We've just always been, there's a continuity to it, and our dreams. And then, I think we've all gotten, luck is definitely a factor. Like, there are a lot of people who are talented. Not everyone gets to, get to the level that they all have.
Well, I think you all found the crack in your door and kicked it open.
We all kicked it open.
What I'm going to ask, if it's okay, just
Keep going.
one other. So earlier you talked about being an intern, right? If we were to send you an intern today, what qualities would you look for in that student?
Well, in the interest of full disclosure, you can't be in high school and be an intern.
I know, no, for local time. I'm saying hypothetically.
No. But hypothetically, it's the easiest thing. Treat it like a job. Don't talk to me about your hours. Don't talk to me about, just treat it like a job. Treat it like work. Come in and find needs that don't exist and fix problems that I don't even know I have. So it's a serious. Don't bother me. Like, if it's like we go to the zoo. Do not feed the animals. Like, the people who are working, don't interrupt. Supplement. And it's a challenge. How can you make yourself useful? How can you do something that they don't have that's going to make their product better? How can you observe what they're doing that can be an unobtrusive way to enhance it? Earn your attention. A lot of interns come in, they're like, oh, will you shoot my stand-ups? Will you shoot my stand-ups? I want the intern who's so good, I'm like, can we shoot stand-ups for you? How can we help you? You've been so helpful to us. And so it's sort of a don't be annoying, be on time, be early, go that extra mile, be creative, act like you've been there, act like you belong there, and belong there. I felt like I worked there from the first day. I didn't care about getting paid. I wanted to work there. And so I treated it like a job from the second I walked in that door. And they're not throwing me out. Because I'm going to always find a way to make myself useful. So.
That's cool.
Anything else?
So what ways...
Hold on 1 second.
Okay. This feels like an interrogation with a glass.
It does, right?
I feel like someone should talk from in there, like, okay, bring in number 60.
That's funny.
Right?
That's
like,
funny.
Like The Usual Suspect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just with the
No,
lighting.
definitely not number 4. He was taller.
What's that?
Not number 4.
Right. No, he was tall, but that glass would be blacked
Right.
out.
Do you have more?
Yeah, one more. So what ways can you tell some of the students that are here today, what ways can they get involved if they're interested in sports or production or anything like that?
I would say, whatever it is you're interested in, you have cameras, do it in front of the camera. So if you're interested in analytics, do a television show about analytics. If you're interested in calling games, go to a game, shoot the game, call the game. Try something outside of your comfort zone. So if you want to be on camera, try being a photographer. If you want to be a photographer, try being on camera. Because number one, you never know. Just by exploring, you might bump into something you really like. And number two, even if you don't do it, have an appreciation for what everybody else does. Because if you understand the whole process, if you understand what the guy behind the camera is going through, you will be more empathetic and work better with them because you will understand that experience. I have produced every single show at Channel 10, from every morning show every political show, every sports show, every news show. So I feel comfortable knowing where my show fits in the context of the whole building because I've done everything. And so doing everything allows you to sort of see what you want to see. You guys have really good sports. You could cover them. I mean, you can really start right now. You have athletes here. You have legitimate athletes. Go cover them. Go tell their stories. Everybody has a story. And ultimately, whether you like movies or whether you like reading or whether you like Harry Potter or whether you like sports, it's about people. And so people watch athletes because they're people stories. So go tell the people stories. Every kid who's an accomplished athlete in this school has an interesting story. The ability to dunk a basketball at 16 is interesting. How did it happen? When was the first time you dunked? What does it feel like to dunk? How often you practice? There's always more to what's going on. And having that natural curiosity of what's behind what you see and communicating it to others are amazing skills. So I'm just a big believer in shot attempts. I'm a big believer in just do it. Just don't talk about it. I don't believe in talking about it. It's so much easier for me to have someone come up to me and go, would you take a look at this video that I made, instead of, hey, I want to be in sports. It's so much easier to say, well, this is what's wrong with it, and this, you could do this better, and why don't you try this, and this would be great. And it's so much easier when you bring something to the table other than an ambition. And it's clear to me that there's an infrastructure here at this school for, if someone's interested, there are unlimited possibilities for them to participate, to learn, to grow. And I also believe the 101st time you try something is going to be better than the first time you try it. So just get it out of the way. You're going to get better. So just keep doing it. Keep doing it. And you will make your mistakes early, because the more mistakes you make early, the better you're going to get. And so the best way to get better is just keep doing stuff as much as possible. And that's where you grow.
Would you look directly to the camera? Right, this one here.
Okay.
Right, this is a message for alumni.
Alumni? Okay.
This is a message for your fellow alumni. Right?
Okay.
If they haven't been back in 20 years, what do you got to tell them?
Well, my fellow university school sons, times are different here. First of all, we're the Sharks, so that's a big change. The red walls from the parking lot circle are the same, and when you walk behind the cafeteria, there's red walls. So that you will recognize, and that will be all that you recognize. The resources at this school are amazing. They were amazing, but now it's ridiculous. I'm sitting in a state-of-the-art television studio with 3 cameras, chroma key over there, a control room over there. That didn't happen. Tonight our football team is playing. What? We have a football team? Yeah, we have a football team. They're playing tonight. They're good. They've won states. We have the #1 high school basketball player in the country who goes here, and we're going to be on ESPN. What? Yeah, these are things that happen here. Performing arts is still awesome. Teachers are still awesome. What's that?
The 750-seat theater.
There is a theater that is anywhere from 428 to 750 seats, depending on who you ask. No, the theater is amazing. We used to have that little black box theater where we would do speech and debate. I saw they had a national champion who's a freshman, and I think he won in 2 categories. So there's still kids who are accomplishing amazing things. The cafeteria food was good. How about that? That was cool. I had a good lunch, so yay on that. No, it's a great school. I mean, listen, university school has always been a good school. It's always had a big heart. It's always been very creative. It's always had good kids. It just looks like U School on steroids. Not literally on steroids, because that would get them in trouble. But it's like the U School on steroids. So it's really been quite impressive.
And can I get you to give me a tagline? Something as simple as, listen, if you haven't been here in a while, you need to come back and take a look. See what our Sharks, maybe not Sharks, but see what our university school students are up to.
Okay.
You feel comfortable?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the best way to say it. I'm David Lang, University School class of 1999. If you have not been back here, you need to be back here. This place has changed in ways you would not believe. If I put you in a time machine and dropped you back from your class and put you here today, it would blow your mind. Because I've been here all day and my mind is blown. So come on back and visit. They'd be happy to see you.
Perfect. That was it. You nailed it.
Very cool.
Awesome. And that's 2:00, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
We have
Oh.
a daughter to pick up.
Looks like. Yeah. Mindy's doing it, so okay. Let me just
Oh,
call
she?
her real quick. Yeah, because yeah, let me just call her. It's okay. We can take a few more minutes. Let me just call her real quick.
Okay. I'll be right back in.
I just hope
All right.
Sloan doesn't yell. Hey, baby, I just finished. Hello. Hey, can you